went to an HOA meeting last night. I wanted to share this with you because it was pretty cool. It's a new subdivision that we put on back in the fall, and it's full service contract. So we've been doing their snow this year for them, and we're going to start in with their landscape work here shortly, within 30 days on the outside, on doing some mulching and edging and things like that. So they invited me to their board meeting about a month ago. They said, hey, we got a board meeting February 15th, or I think that was yesterday's date. And so I said, would you like to come? And I said, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's something that, you need to do as well. I always suggest it. That's how we ended up with the invitation, but I always suggest that any of our new HOAs or communities, rather than dealing just with one person, you always have the landscape person on the board that you deal with, or whoever your contact may be. But I always ask, once we secure that contract, that, hey, I'd love to come meet the rest of the board of directors and talk to some of the owners, just to give me about 10 minutes. And it's something that I think always works out well for us. I mean, I've never, sooner or later it will happen, because there's not too many times when you can use always and never in a sentence when it comes to anything. But to date, 43 years of doing this, I haven't had a negative experience with meeting with the board. I might have some things come up that I didn't know I was going to need to address that quick into a contract, but it's better getting it all thrown out there now, or that's my opinion. If somebody doesn't like us because their friend had the contract, or somebody doesn't like us because they didn't want us and whatnot, let's get it ironed out now. Let's get it taken care of now. So that's why I always try to do that, is, either myself or whoever sold the job meet with the entire board at one of their meetings, and hopefully they've got enough of the homeowners there, whether it's patio homes or whatever it is, at that meeting, to where you can get some input and let people know what you do, what your expectations are. It's a great time. I know I always like to bring up the fact that, if we're doing something that you don't like, our crews are approachable, number one. But if it's something you want specific to your area, whether, a shrub replacement or something, appreciate if you'd go through, in our case, like last night, the gentleman's name's Larry. It's funny, I didn't think about it. I always joke and make everybody Larry, but his name really was Larry. Go through Larry. Larry comes to us, because, there's nothing worse than being in an HOA where you've got, 150 homes or 200 homes or 1,000 homes or whatever it is that you're dealing with, and having many, many people coming out to you and saying, I want this or I want that, and, that isn't right, and blah, blah, this. You guys know how it goes. If you're doing any of that type work, you know how it goes. So it's always better to have a contact person, and then by being at their meeting, you're just sharing that with them, that, hey, we'll do anything you all want to do as long as it comes through our contact here on the board first, because we got one, basically everybody's our boss, but we got one boss on the board that we deal with. So that's why we like to do that. So we went and talked to him last night a little bit. We've had quite a few snow events so far for our area. It hadn't been an abundance in numbers. It's just been durational snow events, to where we had multiple visits in a snow event. It wasn't simply a salt plow salt, like it is a lot of times, or, a couple saltings, or maybe, it's been ongoing time-wise. So it's been, 3 or 4 visits on a lot of these sites for an event. And to a certain extent, it's messing up some of their budgets. They weren't complaining about that. The board, actually, the president, Matt, there with their board, said, hey, he says, it's not our fault. It's not Wayne's fault. It's just the type of scenarios we've had. And we're actually going to talk about that scenario a little bit, because there's a lot of it going around on social media about guys talking about, long-term duration events and how they're supposed to handle them. And, should I bill my customers for all of it, and all those questions that you come up with yourself until you get within that comfort zone of knowing that, yes, I'm going to bill what we do. And it's just that simple. But last night I got a chance to talk to him about why we use treated product versus straight sodium chloride. And we're not going to turn that into a debate here on Profit Time today. That's another show when we can talk about the advantages and disadvantages of different types of material, liquid versus granular. It's all part of the toolbox that we should have, regardless of what market you're in. It's funny when I travel across the country and even into Canada talking snow and ice management, how guys, they're like, well, that'll never work in our market. And then you got the guy sitting next to him and says, man, I've been doing it 10 years. So, it's not a market specific thing necessarily all the time. So we'll talk about that too in a later show. But I got a chance to explain why we do what we do from a snow standpoint, and everybody was good with that. And then the really neat thing that happened that I wanted to share with you was one of the homeowners that was there said, I remember you guys. He said, y'all used to take care of a facility that I lived in back in the 1990s, early 90s. And he said, I knew every Tuesday morning y'all be rolling in there. He said, so I know you guys, the dependability of you guys. And, that made me feel really good that the guy took the time to say that. Not that we need reassurance, but just it makes you feel good that a guy remembered that, hey, every Tuesday morning y'all were there. And I think that says a lot for us and our dependability. And I said, and when he told me that, I said, the funny part about it is the gentleman that took care of that for you back in the early 90s is still with us today, and he's going to be taking care of your subdivision this year. And he's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, way. Yeah, really, he's still with us. So that was just cool. And I just wanted to share that story with you all as well, because I don't know, to me it made me feel good. It was a feel-good moment. We all need a few feel-good moments. So